Welcome to the ultimate deep dive into Tokyo Revengers Season 1. If you're here, you either binged all 24 episodes in one sitting and need to process what just happened, or you're catching up before diving into Season 2. Either way, buckle up because this series delivers time-traveling chaos, brutal gang warfare, and enough emotional gut punches to make you question your life choices. Takemichi Hanagaki is a 26-year-old loser whose life hits rock bottom when he learns that his middle school girlfriend Hinata Tachibana and her brother Naoto have been murdered by the notorious Tokyo Manji Gang. Just when things couldn't get worse, he's pushed onto train tracks and, instead of dying, somehow time leaps 12 years into the past, finding himself back in middle school with his 4 childhood friends. After getting brutally beaten by third-year students from Shibuya 3rd Middle School, Takemichi encounters a young boy being bullied and saves him. Plot twist. It's Naoto, Hinata's little brother. Takemichi tells him about their future deaths, they shake hands, and bam! Takemichi returns to 2017 to find Naoto alive and now a detective, having believed Takemichi's warning and created a time paradox. The game has changed. Detective Naoto drops the bomb. Takemichi can time travel whenever they shake hands, but there's a catch. To save Hinata, they need to prevent Manjiro Sano, Mikey, and Tetta Kisaki, 2 key members of the Tokyo Manji Gang, from ever meeting. Armed with this mission, Takemichi leaps back to the past, only to find himself reliving his darkest days as a punching bag for Masataka Kiyomizu Kiyomasa, a Tokyo Manji Gang member who runs underground fight clubs. Alongside his friends, Takemichi is forced into servitude, setting the stage for the nightmare he needs to dismantle. The mission is clear, but the path? Absolutely terrifying. Kiyomasa's underground fight club becomes a death trap when Takemichi's childhood friend Takuya is selected as the next victim. Unable to watch his friend get pummeled, Takemichi volunteers to take his place despite having 0 fighting skills. The beating is brutal and relentless, but Takemichi refuses to stay down, showcasing a stubborn resilience that catches the attention of 2 legendary figures: Manjiro Mikey Sano, the charismatic leader of Tokyo Manji Gang, and Ken Draken Ryuguji, his intimidating vice captain. Impressed by Takemichi's refusal to give up, Mikey does the unthinkable. He declares Takemichi his friend. Just like that, our time-traveling hero gains access to the inner circle of the gang he's supposed to dismantle. Back in 2017, Takemichi discovers that his actions created a ripple effect. Mikey and Draken's intervention prevented his friend Akun from stabbing Kiyomasa and ending up in prison. Now Akun is a high-ranking Tokyo Manji Gang member running a hostess club, living what appears to be a successful life. But the celebration is short-lived. Akun confesses a devastating truth. He was the one who pushed Takemichi onto the train tracks, following orders from Kisaki. He reveals that Draken is dead and Mikey has vanished. After making Takemichi promise to save everyone by changing the past, Akun commits suicide by jumping from a rooftop, leaving Takemichi traumatized and more determined than ever. Naoto reveals the critical information. Draken died on August 3, 2005, following a conflict with Mikey, and this event is the keystone to everything that goes wrong. Save Draken, save the future. Takemichi returns to the past and meets Emma, a cheerful girl connected to the gang who invites him to a Tokyo Manji Gang meeting. At the gathering, Mikey announces that they'll be fighting Moebius, a rival gang, on August 3rd as retaliation for attacking Pa Chin's, the 3rd Division captain, friend and his girlfriend. The pieces are falling into place, and Takemichi realizes that August 3rd is the fateful day. Concerned for Draken's safety, he shadows him around town, witnessing firsthand how Draken acts as Mikey's moral compass and stabilizing force. A flashback episode reveals Draken's harsh childhood growing up in a brothel and the beautiful friendship that formed when he met Mikey. In the present timeline, Takemichi and Naoto track down Nobutaka Osanai, Moebius's former president, who's now a timid construction worker, a far cry from his delinquent days. While denying direct responsibility for Draken's death, Osanai drops a crucial revelation. The fight between Tokyo Manji Gang and Moebius was deliberately orchestrated, and it triggered an internal conflict within Tokyo Manji Gang that tore them apart. Armed with this knowledge, Takemichi leaps back and desperately begs Mikey and the others to call off the fight, but they refuse to back down from defending their honor. Just then, Osanai and Moebius show up, and the confrontation becomes inevitable. The Battle of August 3rd begins with Pa Chin facing off against Osanai in a one-on-one fight. Despite Pa Chin's defeat, Mikey overwhelms Osanai, and the tide turns in their favor. Draken narrowly dodges what would have been a fatal blow from Osanai, but before victory can be secured, police sirens scatter both gangs. In a moment of rage and desperation, Pa Chin stabs Osanai and immediately turns himself in to the police. Takemichi wakes up in the hospital to learn from Emma that the aftermath has been disastrous. Mikey and Draken are fighting over whether to break Pa Chin out or respect his decision, splitting the gang into two hostile factions. The internal conflict Osanai warned about has begun, and when Takemichi returns home, both Mikey and Draken unexpectedly show up at his door. Mikey and Draken's visit to Takemichi's place turns into a ridiculous showdown as they argue over who gets to be Takemichi's best friend, accidentally destroying his childhood belongings in the process. Through sheer accident, Takemichi manages to stop their fighting and the two legends reconcile. Crisis averted, or so it seems. On August 3rd, Takemichi attends a summer festival with Hinata as her date, enjoying a rare moment of peace. But then Yamagishi calls with an urgent warning: Draken might be in danger. Takemichi follows several Tokyo Manji Gang members and overhears Kiyomasa's plan to kill Draken as revenge for humiliating him. When Takemichi is discovered and beaten down by the group, Hinata finds him and her words reignite his determination to save Draken, no matter the cost. Takemichi rushes to the parking lot, the location where Draken is fated to die, and finds him already fighting waves of Moebius members. Alongside 2nd Division Captain Takashi Mitsuya, Takemichi tries to help while Mikey battles Shuji Hanma, Moebius's acting leader, in an intense fight. Despite their efforts, they're overwhelmed by sheer numbers until the rest of Tokyo Manji Gang arrives, transforming the skirmish into a full-scale gang war. During the chaos, Mikey discovers a shocking betrayal. Pei Yan, the 3rd Division Vice Captain, allied with Moebius out of anger over Pa Chin's arrest, blaming Mikey and Draken for not doing enough to save him. Mikey responds not with violence but compassion, convincing Pei Yan that he's equally devastated about Pa Chin. The moment seems victorious until Takemichi sees the nightmare: Kiyomasa holding a blood-soaked knife and Draken bleeding out on the ground. With Draken critically injured, Takemichi, Emma, and Hinata call an ambulance, but Moebius members corner them before help arrives. This is Takemichi's moment of truth. He fights Kiyomasa one-on-one to protect Draken and the girls, getting his hand stabbed in the process, but refusing to back down. In a desperate move, Takemichi chokes Kiyomasa unconscious, achieving an improbable victory through pure determination. His friends arrive just in time to hold off the remaining Moebius members until the ambulance finally shows up. Meanwhile, Tokyo Manji Gang crushes Moebius decisively, but Hanma delivers an ominous warning to Mikey about a new gang called Valhalla that he's now leading. The Battle of August 3rd is over, but darker storms are brewing. Draken survives emergency surgery, and Takemichi becomes a living legend within Tokyo Manji Gang for stopping Kiyomasa and protecting their vice captain. Basking in his newfound popularity and respect, Takemichi receives an incredible gift from Mikey and Draken, Mikey's original uniform from when Toman was founded. Before returning to the present, Takemichi visits Hinata one last time and gives her a necklace as a keepsake. When he shakes hands with Naoto and returns to 2017, everything has changed for the better. He's back at his regular job, and Akun now works at a hair salon as a normal, happy stylist. Naoto calls with the best news possible. The mission was successful, and Hinata is alive. For the first time, it seems like Takemichi actually won. The celebration is heartbreakingly short-lived. While reconnecting with Hinata, Takemichi learns they broke up at some point in the past, creating an awkward tension. After leaving her in the car momentarily, he encounters Hanma on the street and watches in horror as Akun drives a van directly into Hinata's car in what's clearly a murder attempt. Both Hinata and Akun are fatally injured. In her final moments, Takemichi confesses his love to Hinata before she dies in his arms. The pain and rage crystallize into absolute resolve. Takemichi vows to leap back again, but this time with a new, audacious goal. He won't just save Hinata, he'll become the leader of Tokyo Manji Gang itself and dismantle it from within. Following Hinata's funeral, Takemichi and Naoto investigate what went wrong. They discover that Akun was blackmailed into the murder. His wife and children have vanished, used as leverage. The investigation leads them to an even more shocking discovery. Draken is on death row for murder. They visit him in prison, where a hardened older Draken confesses his biggest regret wasn't following through on killing Kisaki when he had the chance, confirming that Kisaki remains the cancer, destroying everything. Takemichi leaps back to the past once more, arriving just as Mikey announces that Tokyo Manji Gang will be appointing a new 3rd Division captain at their upcoming meeting. The bloody Halloween arc begins. The new 3rd Division captain is announced, Tetta Kisaki, a former Mebius member. Takemichi immediately loses his composure and attacks Kisaki, but 1st Division Captain Keisuke Baji intervenes, beating Takemichi down for disrespecting Mikey's decision. Then Baji drops a bombshell. He's quitting Tokyo Manji Gang to join Valhalla, their enemy gang. Once Takemichi regains consciousness, he confronts Mikey and begs him to expel Kisaki, sensing the danger he represents. Mikey agrees, but with one condition. Takemichi must convince Baji to return first. Mikey then officially inducts Takemichi into Tokyo Manji Gang's 2nd Division under Mitsuya. As Takemichi leaves, he finds a charm Baji dropped, containing a photo of Toman's founders, revealing a shocking truth. There were 6 original members, not 5 like Mikey claimed. Who's the missing founder? At school, Takemichi is approached by Kazutora Hanamiya, a Valhalla member who brings him to their hideout to witness Baji's initiation ceremony. What Takemichi sees is horrifying. Baji brutally beating Chifuyu Matsuno, his own vice captain from Tokyo Manji Gang, as proof of loyalty to Valhalla. The beating is vicious and personal, and it officially grants Baji membership into the enemy gang. Takemichi desperately tries to convince Baji to come back, appealing to their friendship and Toman's bonds, but Baji refuses. Instead, he makes a chilling promise. He'll help Kazutora fulfill his mission to kill Mikey. Before Takemichi can process this betrayal, Baji begins revealing their shared past and the truth behind the 6th founder. The tragic flashback to 2003 reveals Tokyo Manji Gang's founding by 6 members: Mikey, Draken, Mitsuya, Pachin, Baji, and Kazutora. In a well-intentioned but catastrophic plan, Kazutora convinces Baji to steal a motorcycle for Mikey's birthday present. During the heist at a bike shop, Baji realizes too late that it's owned by Shinichiro Sano, Mikey's beloved older brother. When Shinichiro catches them, Kazutora panics and impulsively bludgeons him to death with a wrench. As police sirens approach, both boys are arrested, with Baji devastated and Kazutora entering a catatonic state. In his broken mental state, Kazutora's guilt transforms into a twisted logic. Since he stole the bike for Mikey, Shinichiro's death is actually Mikey's fault, so he must kill Mikey to make things right. Hanma, representing Valhalla, officially challenges Tokyo Manji Gang to a massive confrontation. The next day, Chifuyu approaches Takemichi and reveals the truth. Baji didn't actually betray them. He infiltrated Valhalla to expose Kisaki from the inside. The two team up and meet with Osanai again, who confirms that Kisaki orchestrated the entire Mebius conflict on August 3rd, manipulating events from the shadows. The evidence points to one conclusion: Kisaki must be the true leader of Valhalla, using them as a tool to seize control of Tokyo Manji Gang. To confirm this theory, Takemichi returns to the present and has Naoto arrange another prison visit with Draken. But Draken shatters their theory with a devastating revelation. The real leader of Valhalla isn't Kisaki, it's Mikey. Draken explains the nightmare timeline. On October 31st, 2005, the day known as Bloody Halloween, Kazutora killed Baji during the gang war. Mikey, consumed by rage and grief, killed Kazutora in retaliation. This broke Mikey completely, and Tokyo Manji Gang lost the fight, resulting in their absorption into Valhalla. The merged gang became a criminal organization led by both Mikey and Kisaki, creating the corrupt empire of the future. Takemichi leaps back to the past and confronts Baji alongside Chifuyu, but Baji maintains his cover, swearing loyalty to Valhalla. Later, Takemichi admits to Mikey that he failed to bring Baji back, but at the meeting on the night before Bloody Halloween, Mikey makes an inspiring declaration. Tokyo Manji Gang won't fight against Baji, they'll fight to bring him home. On October 31st, the two gangs gather at a junkyard, and when Kazutora knocks out the referee, Bloody Halloween begins. The legendary Bloody Halloween gang war erupts in full force. Tokyo Manji Gang is severely outnumbered by Valhalla, and as members start falling, morale plummets. Takemichi, despite being the weakest fighter, rallies everyone with his unbreakable determination, reigniting their fighting spirit. Meanwhile, Kazutora lures Mikey into a trap at a pile of scrapped vehicles, where two Valhalla members pin him down, while Kazutora viciously strikes him with a metal pipe. A flashback reveals Kazutora's traumatic childhood filled with abuse from his father, explaining his black and white view of morality and his inability to process guilt. Despite the brutal ambush, Mikey breaks free through sheer willpower and systematically defeats all the Valhalla members, including Kazutora, proving why he's the legendary leader of Toman. Mikey collapses from exhaustion after defeating Kazutora, leaving him vulnerable to Valhalla's remaining forces. Just as they move in for the kill, Kisaki arrives with his division, dramatically intervening to protect Mikey. The other Tokyo Manji Gang members celebrate Kisaki as their savior, exactly as he planned. Only Takemichi sees through the manipulation, realizing this heroic moment was orchestrated to cement Kisaki's position. Baji, however, has his own agenda. He charges straight for Kisaki, intent on ending him. Takemichi tries desperately to hold Baji back, but just as he remembers the future where Kazutora kills Baji, it happens in real time. Kazutora stabs Baji from behind. Baji tries to downplay the wound as shallow and continues fighting toward Kisaki, but when he finally reaches his target, he collapses, revealing the stab wound was fatal all along. With Baji dying, Mikey defeats Hanma and declares the fight over, having lost all interest in the gang war. He approaches Kazutora and begins brutally beating him, consumed by rage over losing another precious person. In the middle of this violence, Baji, using his last strength, approaches them and does the unthinkable. He stabs himself, committing suicide to absolve Kazutora of responsibility for his death. As Baji dies in their arms, he confesses to Takemichi and Chifuyu that he faked his betrayal to investigate Kisaki, who had made a deal with Mikey, become 3rd Division captain in exchange for using his connections to expedite Pachin's release from prison. Takemichi tries desperately to stop Mikey from killing Kazutora, and in the struggle, Baji's charm falls from his pocket. Mikey sees the photo of the 6 founders and is transported back to the day Tokyo Manji Gang was born. The flashback to June 19, 2003 shows Baji creating Tokyo Manji Gang specifically to protect Kazutora from the Black Dragons gang. Seeing the photo, Mikey finally understands Baji's dying wish: forgive Kazutora. The realization breaks through his rage, and he stops the beating, choosing to honor Baji's memory instead of seeking revenge. Tokyo Manji Gang and Valhalla disperse as police sirens approach. Kazutora, accepting responsibility, apologizes to Mikey and stays behind with Baji's body to turn himself in. Later, Chifuyu visits Baji's grave and recalls their friendship, how Baji saved him from a gang and became his hero. Takemichi and Draken visit Kazutora in juvenile detention, where he's been sentenced to 10 years. Draken delivers Mikey's message: Kazutora is forgiven and will always be a member of Tokyo Manji Gang. Draken takes Takemichi to the brothel where he grew up and thanks him for preventing Mikey from killing Kazutora, which would have destroyed Mikey's soul. There's a lighthearted moment when Takemichi, Hinata, and Naoto mistakenly think Emma and Mikey are dating, only for Draken to reveal they're actually half-siblings. Mitsuya creates a custom gang uniform for Takemichi as a gesture of gratitude and acceptance. At the next Tokyo Manji Gang meeting, Takemichi attends as an official member, feeling like he finally belongs. Then, Mikey arrives with both Hanma and Chifuyu to make a major announcement that will reshape the gang's future. Mikey announces that Tokyo Manji Gang and Valhalla will merge, with Hanma appointed as captain of the newly created 6th Division. Chifuyu nominates Takemichi to become the 1st Division captain, honoring Baji's faith in him. Feeling victorious, Takemichi returns to the present, expecting good news. Instead, he finds himself as a high-level executive in a nightmare scenario. Mikey and Mitsuya are missing, Draken has been executed, and Kisaki now leads Tokyo Manji Gang in Mikey's absence. During an executive meeting, Kisaki announces the gang has been raided by police, then reveals he captured both Takemichi and Chifuyu. Chifuyu confesses he leaked information to the police as revenge for Baji's death. Kisaki shoots Chifuyu, killing him in cold blood. He then points the gun at Takemichi, calling him a hero, with venomous sarcasm, preparing to execute him as the season ends on a devastating cliffhanger.